Broome from Enlightened World Network. We are here with messages from our loved ones. And this time is when Sue and I talk about death. We talk about transitions, the process, the emotions, the spiritual aspects of it. And we invite you to join us in Facebook or YouTube in the chat room. If there is someone in spirit that you would like to hear from, please just put their name there and we will be able to see if there's something that we experience there with your loved ones. So Sue, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Miss Ruth. It's perfect. I see us. I'm sharing.
Great.
So excited to be here today, too. I'm always excited to spend time with you and our loved ones. I've been calling them in this morning. It's like, come on, people.
That's great. Okay, let me see if I can just share on my page for just a quick second here while Sue is sharing with hers.
Works. Okay. I don't see YouTube, but I do see
On Facebook.
On Facebook. Yes.
And we've got a couple of folks on with us. So friends, if you would like to receive a message from someone you have loved who has passed over, please just put their name in the chat. So let's talk for just a second. The tornadoes that went through Kentucky the other night. Mm-hmm. And I was really thinking about the death process. And what I have been told in my work with Archangel Raphael is that moment of death, the actual dying, the process, it's funny, the throat chakra, the actual death isn't painful. It's the seconds leading up to death that may be excruciating in so many cases. But actually, the moment of dying, the process of your soul leaving your body is actually not painful. Have you done any work along those lines?
Not specifically. However, that actually really makes sense to me because the moment of death is such a release, because all you're doing is you're letting go of this world. And the buildup, it's like anything else. The buildup is what makes or breaks us, And so I can see where the buildup could be horrible. Our tornado's coming.
Right.
Or it might take you, even looking, at the pictures, at some of them I saw this morning, it reminds me of when I was a kid. Well, I was a young adult when there was a city near Madison that went through and basically leveled the town. So the buildup, yes, I can see the buildup would be not only scary, but it could be painful. Right. But the moment of passing, no, because you're releasing, and you're actually releasing yourself back to your full, I want to say full self, and that's not quite it either, but it's like you're releasing this bodysuit.
Right. And the way I've heard it explained is that you're really transitioning from one learning environment to another. And that part of it isn't painful. It's really just stepping from one dimension into another.
Right. Yeah. Going from grade school to high school or next grade up, or, or some people, depending on what kind of life they had here, they may go into cocooning, cocooning of love or rejuvenation of sorts. depending on what kind of story they had while they were here.
Right. So what are your thoughts for the folks in Kentucky that are going through this imminently? I mean, they're still going through trying to find people, or is there anybody still alive? Like the candle factory, that's the one that keeps hitting the news over and over again. And any thoughts, any comfort for the folks that are on this side in that space of agony?
Holding them in love is a key thing. And also, I mean, I guess, and this, I know some people think this is cold or cruel. Everyone has signed up basically when they're going to leave. And they might sacrifice themselves in a situation like this to help bring more compassion or awareness to something or someone, whether it's a family member, whether it's a larger situation. So there's also that piece of it, because as you said, we're all here learning, but we're human beings here, so we feel all of these emotions. On the spiritual level, it's like we're just learning. It's not that there's a good or a bad that we as humans put onto it. It's just you learned how to help the awareness of compassion. Or maybe a contract that the two people, maybe a husband and wife, had signed up for, and whatever they decided to learn together. Now, doesn't sound very comforting, though. I think, okay, I'm gonna be the reason someone smiles. And that kind of, in a nutshell, is and I pulled a card out of this deck this morning just for me, and it was about the memories. And it's truly sharing the love, holding these people in love, but also remembering the happy thoughts, if you know people that are in the situation. And if you don't know somebody in the situation, maybe in your life, you knew someone in a similar type situation. So I think there's also you still being the kind, compassionate person. And maybe today, if you can't do anything about what's going on there, you do something in your own life to someone in your own family or someone in your own network that helps spread the happiness, the joy, the love. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you getting any other impressions on
it feels to me, it's just unfortunate. There's never a good time to go through something like this. I think particularly unfortunate for those that celebrate Christmas. And, here we are in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And for some folks, that's a time of great joy and family and celebration. So to be going through that angst, because every year that will be a marker for them. Like, oh, that's what the holidays is. We lost dad, or, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a life-changing thing. When my grandmother died on my birthday, and my mom didn't tell me for a couple of days. I was 23. I could have handled it. She didn't want to ruin my birthday. Mm-hmm. Well, it has nothing to do with that. I mean, if nothing else, it makes me feel closer to my grandmother, because every birthday I think of my grandmother. Yeah. It helps me hold her even closer. So I wonder if for the folks that are going through this at the holidays, if that will help them in the future hold that person closer.
So I'm glad you mentioned that about your grandma on your birthday, because I have a friend of mine. She has a sister and mom, dad. So there was 4 in the family, and they were very, very, very close family. Dad died on her birthday. And she always looked at it as a gift, because she knew that her sister was daddy's favorite.
Oh.
And this was his way of acknowledging her.
Aww.
So she always looks at it on her birthday as a gift. So
yeah, that's so sweet. And that's exactly how I think of it. Yeah.
yeah.
That's so beautiful. So I wanted to talk about something else. Someone who's very dear to me has decided that this year is her last, that, her birthday's coming up this next month, and she can see that birthday. She cannot see anything after that, and can't see the grandkids when I see, she can't visualize it. Can't see them in junior high. They're both in elementary school. She just can't see the future. And she does have health issues. Absolutely. Do you think that sometimes folks get a premonition, or they have really the understanding when they're going to be passing?
I think some people do. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's accurate. I'll give you an example. My brother that died last year, a year before he passed, said he wasn't going to make it till that birthday. And he made it, a year and a half more. Now, she may not be able to see it for some other reason, because it's like when you're full spirit, when you don't have this bodysuit here, you can see the kids graduating. You can see what's going on in your loved ones' lives. So that kind of is an interesting thing that she can't see. Now, maybe she can't see herself seeing that. So, so do I feel that people? Yes, I do, because I think what some people will do, if you've heard about, all of a sudden they went on a flurry and, cleared clutter in their house or got things in order and didn't even think about why they were doing it. And, just thought, now's the time. And then all of a sudden they're gone. So I think on some level people know, and maybe on, and some people have more of a premonition, but like I said, I don't, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. That's just the timeline that they're seeing and the probabilities that are all right there right now.
Right. Yeah. And she is finding herself unnesting. She's getting rid of stuff. She's getting everything lined up, and God bless her. We should all be doing that. Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, she's having conversations with the town's mortician because she knows how she wants her service to go. She knows how she wants things taken care of. And I think good. That's exactly what everybody should be doing, because then there's no disappointment later. Well, and not that she would, when she's in spirit, friends, she's not going to be going, oh, darn, I wanted pink roses at my funeral and they gave me white. She's not going to be doing that. But at least she would be able to know ahead of time that everything will be done the way that she wants. So I think that's a perfect conversation to be having, and putting it in writing for your family and let them know where it's going to be. Where, okay, if I die, go to this cupboard because everything you need is right there.
Yep.
My bank accounts, my insurance, all of those financial things that you're going to need, it's all right there. It's listed for you. I'm making it easy for you. I just think we all should be living life that way.
We should. And there was a woman when I was in hospice. So this was several years ago up in northern Arizona. Her husband died and she was, I don't know if it was an age thing or an era thing. I don't know what, but she did not know how to even pump gas. She didn't know where all of the bank, where the bank account, the homeowner insurance, the everything insurance, she didn't know where all that stuff was. So after her husband died, obviously she had to learn how to do all this stuff. But after that, she created this binder to help other people. And then she went out and she would do talks to help people organize all this stuff, and I've seen books on it. I've thought about doing a journal on it. And it's like, it seems like it's this huge thing because I think about, all the things that I'm connected with, where all of my passwords are. It's like,
I know.
So, but it was also something that there are people that they don't know how to do things, or their spouse knows how to do. The spouse takes care of all this, whether the spouse is the man or the woman, that, it doesn't matter. If the other one goes,
right.
Where's all that knowledge?
No, that's so true. My friend Sylvia, God bless her, she was 75. Excuse me. Her husband died. He cooked every meal. He did all of her emails for her. She didn't know how to do it. And so I was in Colorado, she was in California, and I'm trying to teach her how to send an email over the phone. I mean, if you think about all of the steps in that, it didn't do her any good to have him taking such care of her that she had to create a life after he died. I mean, it really was very sad. So what a message. But Sue, there is the need for that journal.
I know.
And I would be so happy to work with you on it, because it's right in keeping with the work we're doing with Come Celebrate Me Home, where we're trying to help people prepare for either their own passing or the passing of a loved one. So I would be so happy to do that with you.
She's maybe after the first of the year.
Yeah, well, yes, not before then.
Well, and even but that actually planning that, it's like taking stock of, for this month, okay, what gets paid, where does it get paid, how does it get paid, what's the process? So that's all part of it.
Right. It is all part of it. And one of my dear friends, her sister is, and they're both older, and this is sad because neither one has kids, so they're relying on each other. And the sister doesn't have a husband or anything. It's truly just her at this point. Nobody else is on her home. Nobody else is on her bank accounts. And so when she passes, my friend has to go and try to access everything. But she's not an executor on the will. And it's just like, oh my gosh, just leaving such a mess for the folks that are left.
Hey, if I were to walk out the door and not come back, it would be a mess. Because stuff is all over. And really, you think about something as easy as, okay, could people even get into my phone? Nope.
No, right.
Nope. Could they get into my laptop? Nope. Could they get into my iPad? Nope.
I know. One of our family friends does not want his nieces and nephews to receive his estate. doesn't want it. He has no will.
Oh, well, if
And
he doesn't want that, he needs to have a will.
that's right. There's no wife, there's no siblings. The only family members are these nieces and nephews. And we keep saying, okay, well, here's the law, and they're going to inherit your things. And he's going, no, I don't want this. Like, okay, so write this will. And friends, it doesn't have to be a big deal. There are downloadable forms online that are free, that are legal.
Mhm.
And all you have to do is write them. You don't even have to go to a notary for them. There's no reason to not take care of those things.
Yeah. Well, and it's even like even if something were to happen to you from a health standpoint where you are unable to speak and in a hospital, do you have it, which I don't, do you have anyone that's gonna, it's like, nope.
Right.
But those are also there's, as far as I know, there's easy forms out there that you can download and fill out and say, yes, I want this person assigned. I want this person assigned.
Right. Right. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know. It just seems to me, as unpleasant as some of those activities seem to be, boy, we would save ourselves so much heartache when it comes to all of this death and transition stuff, to actually have things lined up while we're able to do it.
It does, but it also goes back to death scares people. So, because you think about the things that people do I should say that they avoid because they're afraid, or that they do because they are afraid.
Mhm.
And one of those things, or because it seems like it's just an overwhelming, where do I start kind of thing. It's like, yeah. I remember when my grandma passed, she assigned me as the executor. And she was pretty organized though. So we had things, I mean, she was pretty good about stuff. I don't remember that she had a will, but it was much cleaner than my dad, because when my dad passed, yes, he was married. However, he had never probated my mom's will. My dad died in, I think it was 1985. My mom died in 74.
Wow.
So they had to go back and probate my mom's will before they could probate his will. So death is just kind of a messy thing. From a paperwork standpoint. The other thing is, similar to, I don't want them to have it, but if you have certain things that you do want certain people to have, it's like, you need to make sure that that is known as well, so somebody else doesn't get it.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So Linda Dirks, one of our EWN hosts, she had authored a book, and the conversation came up. What did she want to have happen with her book when she passed? She knew she was dying. She had cancer. She wanted the sale to continue. So what we ended up doing while she was alive was downloading a form for her to give me the copyright of her book. So now I can sell her book. Otherwise, it would have just sort of gone into nowhere. And, the royalties, not that they're much, folks, but as Sue knows, but those royalties would have gone nowhere because her bank account would have been closed. So
Right.
it would have gone nowhere. So you want to think about those things that are important to you for after you're gone, for them to live on. Well, what do you need to do now to safeguard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many different layers of things.
Yeah, you think about that. I mean, because like right now, for me, I have a lot of journals, and I have a couple of books out there, and yeah, you have to do something with that. I mean, the journals, obviously, but the other books, it's like, I had never thought about, I just assumed that they would just stop.
No, they stay up on Amazon.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that. And so if there is a book out there and there's a sale, but no, it doesn't go anywhere, does it just go to Amazon?
I'm sure Amazon just has deep pockets with that
I mean,
kind of
that's
thing.
what I would think, yeah. So, very interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of things, and that's why it does get overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. And I think that's why I've thought about this book for probably over a year. And I probably have notes, just sitting down thinking about, okay, yep, you got this account, this account, this account, this account. And it's like, so then you have to think about, okay, passwords for those, for different accounts. And, you're not supposed to have passwords written down.
Yeah.
Here's my magic book.
Right.
With all my information.
Right.
And then if you change your password,
Then
you
you
have
have
to
to go back
remember
and
to
change
change
it.
it.
I know.
Ah, yeah,
But you can see why some folks just go, they'll just deal with it when I'm gone.
right. And I'm sure that there are probably companies, I think about, especially here, there's a lot of estate sales because I live in a 55 and over community. So there's in different seasons, there seems to be more, but I'm sure that they probably have a way that they can come in. Not that I'm pawning it off, but that they come in and just organize everything. So maybe there's other things that maybe they go in and do paperwork also. I don't know.
Yeah, plus, there are death doulas. Now, some death doulas will specialize in helping you get the paperwork done so you are ready to go when it's time. Other death doulas specialize in holding your hand as you transition or that kind of thing. So, if you're needing help with something like that, there are folks that will specialize in that kind of thing.
Yeah, it does seem like an overwhelming, but it's also something that is definitely needed. And you think about if you know somebody that has gone through, oh my gosh, it was horrible because there was infighting, because I'll tell you, death brings out a lot of nastiness in people, especially if there's a lot of money involved or a lot of possessions that people think, well, I have the rights to that. So it would help. I know that I've heard of people that will go around their house, and I can't remember who this was, but they had Post-its on some of their things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, this person is going to get that. And it's like, okay.
Yep. My mom did that. Plus, she had a list, but yeah, the Post-its, and we relied on those Post-its. So
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
And as long as people are aware that that's what's going on, and they know that, hey, it's already spelled out. This is mom's wishes. This is dad's wishes. This is who, Yeah.
Well, Sue, one of the other pieces of preparing for your own transition is making sure that your relationships are what you want them to be. So there's no regrets at the end of the day. And also that your spiritual relationship is what you want it to be. So there's no regrets, so that there's no fear when it is time for you to go. Yeah, the preparation for death is not always all on paper. It's preparation of the heart.
It absolutely is. It goes back to being kind, sending out love, because if a person was an evil person and they're getting to the end of their days, the judgment that they think is going to happen from somebody else, it's like, well, no, it's really coming back to you. But yes, going back and making amends if that's what you need to do. And even from, I've told people, if people think if say that my dad and I had a horrible relationship. And they think, oh, he's gone, so you can't do anything about it. It's like, oh, no, that's not true at all. You know, you can still have a relationship. You can still rectify whatever you think was going on your end by sitting down in a meditation, or you can sit down and write a letter. There are things that you can do. And I think that that right there, the word that is coming to me is cathartic.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very healing if you sit down and so you feel like, okay, I did this to my dad, or I said this to my dad, and sit down and write him a letter and say, Dad, I'm really sorry that I did that. So people can take care of past relationships while they're still here, even though the other person is gone. Now, would it be better, easier? And maybe not if the person is still here. So if my dad were still here, would it be easier for me to just have a conversation with him? Well, maybe it still wouldn't be. And I could still write a letter. And even that in and of itself, by you going through and writing the letter and getting that out from yourself and allowing that to release from your heart, it also can change the relationship that you have with your father, even though he's here, even though you never told him on a physical level, you told him on an energetic level.
Right. No, I understand that. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Lainey, I'm actually recording. If you want to come on and say hi to everybody, you may, but I'm actually recording with Sue. Thank you, sweetie.
No, I don't want to be on air.
Exactly. You know, it was interesting along the same lines. The dear person that I was talking to, who is preparing for her own transition, she has had issues with her parents throughout her life, issues of abuse and not believing and lots of anger and that kind of thing. And she does not want them in spirit to show up when she passes. She understands fully that our loved ones show up and support us. Mm-hmm. And she said, I don't want them there. And my response was, then they won't be there. It's the souls that you love, that love you. And they may not be in your bloodline. You know, our soul partners may not be in our bloodline. But she felt better when she heard they may not be the ones that show up for you.
You know, it's interesting because I hadn't ever thought of that. But as you're saying that, it's almost like I could see them being like a second or third layer back. Because I think as soon as she does the release, it's like all of this stuff that was here is gone, and you're just truly back in that love space. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's not an instantaneous thing, but I don't think that it would be as strong, or as she wouldn't feel it quite the same way that she does here. Right. So I think there would be, okay, here, with my brother Steve. So he passed last year and he went out with a bang. He's, I joke about, I was just messaging with a friend. She goes, and she didn't know the story. So I told that, you know, his trailer blew up, was on fire, and they couldn't get close enough because there was still ammo that was going off. And, you know, it could have been the oxygen tank. It could have been propane, whatever. Yeah. Doesn't matter. He went out with a bang. Right after, I mean, it was like maybe the next day, a couple of days later, I was talking with a friend of mine, and she said, you know, I see him. Yes, he went out with a bang, but it's almost like as soon as he did, all this heaviness that he was feeling, because he was so angry with my dad. He had I mean, on my mom's 30-year anniversary, he and I are talking, and he was still angry about something my dad had done when I mean, he remembered it like it happened the day before.
Right.
So, but she said all of that just fell away. And it wasn't quite instantaneous, but it was very close to that. So I think that, yeah, it's kind of like the body that's left behind. There's a lot of the anger and the hurt that does get left behind, and forgiveness might not be instantaneous, but it's pretty close to that. And if not immediately, it will happen. Because if you're in pure love, love is the absence of all that other stuff.
Right. And I was wondering too, is it the situation where she and her parents had decided before coming into this realm, the role they were going to play in each other's lives, and they did their job, they played it well.
Yep.
And at the end, are they going to be together going, good job. You provided for me what I needed so I could learn this and this and this. You know, did the masks come off and everybody's just there in spirit form, in love with each other? Or was there really something there and they're not going to be there when she passes? You know, I mean, I don't know. But I guess that's one of those answers we don't know.
We don't. However, we won't know until we're there.
Right.
There is a book. I don't know if we've ever talked about this. I want to say this guy has written 3 books. I want to say his name is Robert Schwartz. My Soul's Purpose, My Soul's something. But what this guy did, he has different stories throughout the book. And like I said, he's written 3 books, and I think they expand on what he started. So the first book, there's different people, and he connected with a medium, and I can't remember one other person for each one, to connect with the soul, to find out, okay, this person had an illness, this person, lived an abusive life, this person had, blah, 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 all very different and I think there was a suicide in there too, all very different situations. And the conclusion, and I've heard other people talk about this, and this is my belief, is we're all souls sitting around having a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and we're saying, Ruth, I love you so much. I want you to come back and be this nasty, mean mother to me so I can learn how to love myself, so I can learn how to stand up to myself. And you say, I love you so much, Sue. I'm more than happy to do that. And somebody else sitting around, and yes, I want you to do something. And it might not be so specific that I want you to do this thing to me, but it's the theme. What is it that you're trying to learn? So you have different people in your life that are bringing out what it is that you want to learn. And if you want to learn how to love yourself and how to stand up for yourself, you got to be pushed around a little bit until you're going to stand up for yourself and love yourself enough to say, enough, I am important.
Yeah.
So yeah, souls sitting around having a cup of coffee saying, what are we going to do this next lifetime?
And that is so healing.
Mm-hmm.
So healing when you can look at a relationship with someone that has caused you pain,
Mm-hmm.
and stop and think, wow, if we planned this together, what was that person trying to teach me?
Right. Yeah. And if we didn't learn the lesson with that person, what did we do to ourselves after that? So did we go and have repetitive relationships? Like you hear people that have, especially women that have bad relationships with their father, their husbands have the same characteristics, and they might, marry, get divorced, marry, get divorced, marry, get divorced until they learn the lesson, whatever that is. But so did you learn the lesson, or did you, like my brother Steve, there were things, there was so much anger that was within him that he never worked through. So is this a lesson that he gets to come back and learn again, with forgiveness? And Dad did the best that he could with what he had. It's like, I think that, yeah, it's going to be lessons that if he didn't get it this time, he's going to get it in some future life. Maybe it won't be the next lifetime. Maybe the next lifetime, he'll be in a similar situation and he won't get it that time either. Or maybe he'll take a couple lifetimes off and learn some other things.
Right.
But
I do believe that if we don't learn a lesson here in this lifetime, it's going to come around. And it may not be in a future lifetime, but it might be in this lifetime that
yes.
The universe keeps giving you the opportunity to learn the same lesson. And until we get it figured out, it's just going to come back and keep being taught.
Yes, I think that is very true. And the reason I said that was thinking about my brother, because it had been so many years since my dad passed. And so he carried that with him all that time.
Do you think, Sue, in some way that was his own way of keeping your dad with him?
I think that those two were very, very much alike. And he knew that. Now, did he have other troubles? I think that he did. He was very rebellious. So I think he had, a lot of other issues that he was still, I think he took on a lot this lifetime. That's a kind way of saying it. I think, because some people, they take on a lot of lessons. They decide, oh yeah, I want to do this. Because, when you're in love, not in love, but in the state of love, it's like, yeah, I can take on more. I can learn more lessons. Come on, I can take it. I can do more things than that. It's only a lifetime. So give me more things. And I think he took on a lot.
Yeah.
As some people do.
Right. Right. And other times, other folks go, I'm going to make this one an easy one. This time is going to be pretty darn easy for me. Yeah. It's just so interesting, all of this. Well, so friends, if you're watching this after the fact, so glad that you joined us. Sue and I come on, we talk about death, we talk about life, and it's always interesting. So Sue, thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights with me. Thank you for sharing your heart with me. I so enjoy doing this with you. So
I do with you as well, Miss Ruth. We bring it out in each other, that's for sure.
Yeah. So friends, you take good care. If you want to talk with either Sue or I about transition and what all this means, please reach out to us on Facebook Messenger. So much love to each and every one of you. Take good care.